Hello, it's Thursday, the senior cousin to Friday. Welcome to Outnumbered, reaching you from Abuja. I am Miss Babadzi, and of course, today I'm outnumbered, of course. Welcome, Tonya. Welcome, Ramsey. Good morning.
Good
morning.
Thank you,
Mercy.
Mercy.
Good morning.
I was almost calling you Ramsey.
How
Good
are
morning,
you?
Ramsey.
Okay,
Very
because she
well.
said she was being outnumbered.
Yeah.
I thought I'm the one that's been outnumbered.
Yeah, I think Ramsey is
actually.
the one.
Ramsey is the one being outnumbered.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't talking about gender. I was talking about the number of people with me in the studio, actually.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Yeah, we're
Very
good.
well.
Hope you're fine too.
I'm good. Well, the holidays is almost over because I'm actually very jealous of those people that don't get to work at this period. But then
They're just chilling in
they're
their
chilling in their houses,
Yeah.
and then but it is what it is. Well, now let's start today's outnumbered proper. I'll be starting with the national dailies, the Daily Trust, and Daily Trust this morning. The lead story there says CBN sacks 50 more staff. CBN sacks 50 more staff. 117 gone in 20 days. One would really wonder where the job creation or employment of youths comes in for this administration. But then staff accuses management of illegality, double standard. External vendors affected. Ooh, that's a sad one there. And that is a page 4 read for the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. And now cracks widen in PDP as North Central insists on chairmanship. I take that story again. Cracks widen in PDP as North Central insists on chairmanship, and that's on page 11 of the Daily Trust. Controversy over price war on London route, and that is page 18 it's on page 18 for Daily Trust. Israel bombs Gaza on Salah Day despite US rebuke. One would think that Joe Biden's word actually weighs a lot
Because we saw that troops left.
Troops left.
Yeah.
As of yesterday, Biden was talking about how the people that were sent to deliver aid were killed, and those people were actually international people or foreign people rather. And then he said outrightly that he feels like things need to be done and they should cease fire. But then on Salah Day, I mean,
That's the height of it.
No, I tell you.
well, that story, it's on page 12 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Now, Salah, seek knowledge, pray for leaders, Sultan tells Muslims, and that is on page 27 of the Daily Trust. Now, let's move to the next story where passengers missing as bus plunges into Lagos Lagoon. I saw this particular video yesterday and it was not a nice thing to see. And then I actually spoke with a few of my friends that were in Lagos and saw it, and they said, they didn't just, it felt like a freak accident. And one would wonder, if you've been to Lagos before, you see the way people speed on that third mainland bridge as if, I don't know,
They're chasing something.
But then, they always say, speed kills, but then drive safe at the end of the day. Because there was that was totally an avoidable accident that happened there yesterday. But then let's move to the next story. Worshipper gunned down at Zamfara Eid ground. A lot is just going on. And that's on page 23. And now to customs import duty rate. Customs import duty rate falls to 1,238 naira per dollar, and that's a page 20 read. And for the picture story, do it to get a copy of the Daily Trust. Over to Thonia.
All right, thank you, Mercy. On this day newspaper, Dangote, lower fuel price from our refinery would help reduce inflation. So Dangote is saying lower fuel price from his refinery will help reduce inflation. And then we have some writers to that story. Upbeat about turnaround of nation's economy. And next one says, restates commitment to Nigeria's industrialization. Then we have the president congratulates Africa's richest man on his 67th birthday. And that story continues on page 10 of this day newspaper. Now, Air Peace flight to London sparks price war among foreign airlines. That you can find on page 8. Obaseki, Oborewori, Ibori, Igbenedion others celebrate Tom Ikimi at 80. That continues on page 10. And the big story here on this day newspaper, we must prioritize love for our country. Tinubu appeals to Nigerians at Eid prayers. And it continues, says, stresses need to protect integrity of government leadership. The First Lady says, let's sustain good deeds exhibited during Ramadan. And then Buhari, Shetima, Zulum, Akpabio, Barau, governors and others seek support for leaders. And finally, Atiku, Saraki, PDP and others urge prayers for Nigeria, for the nation. And that continues on page 10. And then the picture story, we have Otedola's Salah visit to the president. That will be all from this day newspaper.
All right, thank you very much, Antonia, for those headlines. Let's quickly take you through the Vanguard newspaper for the headlines that we have for today. Transfer of pension money out of Nigeria escalates. The details you can get on page 19, meaning this money and they're going somewhere else. You remember what's happening to pensioners in Nigeria. They are being owed. I think a part of it is being paid already. More still coming from the Vanguard newspaper this morning on page 4. We have this one which says inquiry. Okwama community shuns military panel. Okolobia in attendance. A PDP NEC meeting. Governors, others renew battle for party's soul. Details on page 4 of the Vanguard newspaper. Then moving away from there, still on the Vanguard. A fair court. Airpeace chair Onyema slams foreign airlines over conspiracy. Okay, the details of that is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Then I also have this one which says Eid el-Fitri. Our security improving, federal government declares. I don't know where that is actually happening, that security is improving. Right now in Zamfara State, there's a curfew because banditry and kidnapping is on the rise. And that's just Zamfara State. Not only in Zamfara State, across the country. Mm-hmm. I don't know the state that's even safe right now.
Even the northern elders have said they do not think they would support Tinubu for 2027.
For 2027.
Because they were expecting a better security for the northern part of Nigeria, but then it looks like everything just plunged into the river at that
Personally, that was one of the first things that I was even looking out for when this administration was coming in.
But then you have to put in consideration that Tinubu is actually an economist, and I do not think he has any major insecurity.
And that's why you have security chiefs. You put experts in this position.
On ground. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do all of it yourself. You have people that can do it. So it's best to delegate and charge them with that responsibility.
Yeah, follow them bomber to bomber.
But
Let
even
them do
with
the needful.
we can actually go back to the point where we've seen the Senate call most of the service chiefs. How many times have they actually visited the Senate House, and then just questions upon questions?
Do they even follow through? They don't follow
nothing has happened after all the questioning.
I think the office of all the chiefs should be moved to the security-prone areas.
Yeah, maybe actually.
Imagine
they have the headquarters in Zamfara, Katsina, or you move them to Kaduna. But even at that, we have a whole defense headquarters in Kaduna, and then they were able to penetrate that. So in fact,
well, that's that. Well, so many happening from this aspect of security in Nigeria. Still from the Vanguard newspaper this morning, the big story says tariff hike, 20 hours supply for Band A customers under threat. You remember Band A. I don't know which of you is in Band A. Some riders to that story.
Messi told me she's on Band A.
Antonia had 20 hours. There's a difference between saying you are in Band A and actually being implemented.
Messi has more than 20
Band A now,
I
can't remember. We had like
the last
morning.
This morning.
Yeah, we had like.
I can't remember the last time I had.
But then they actually came out to apologize to say that they do not think any Nigerians are actually fit into that Band A.
But why would they even
16 to 20 hours? Really, someone called them out on Twitter, on X rather, and the person said, "Oh, I need you guys to give me." I don't know how they proof of that. You have had 16 to 20 hours. And then they later came out and they apologized and said, "Oh, we're sorry. It looks like you're in the Band B." Even that Band B said,
Band B
is supposed to be 16 to 12 hours.
16 to 12 hours. All right, let's get to the riders for that story. As power allocation hovers at 3,236 megawatt. Then this one says a PH Disco apologizes for shortfall. Kaduna Disco sets up response team. And more riders to that story. No transparency, fairness in billing. CPPE is the one saying that. Firms will pay for the services they don't enjoy. LCCI is the one saying that. And the last rider to that story says experts expect improvement in supply. Let's move to Edo State right now. On page 7 of this paper, we have this one which says Edo Guba. My impeachment won't stand. Shaibo. A lot of drama coming from Edo
He
State.
said he's
You
going
know,
to fight
you
for
know-
it.
He's going to fight.
Edo
He's going
State-
to court. But then, the court, you were saying something yesterday that the court is the last hope of the common man.
But they've
And I was
been-
asking, is it really
they've been
the last hope of the
amazing.
common
Let-
man?
You know,
let me-
Chris said something about
Yeah.
if he couldn't fight when he was a deputy governor,
Governor.
how much fight would you
Now
have
that
if you
he's
were
been
a
impeached,
layman?
it's going to be difficult if you ask me. More story from here this morning. Alleged defamation. Better Edo threatened to sue BBC. Someone said
That's
something.
laughable.
Someone said something. It said before now, if you are in the net of EFCC, you quiver.
Yeah.
Okay, there is
You
this
run
fear.
into
Maybe they gave her a
But-
room
but
filled
I don't
with
know.
this is working.
Despite
the
everything
place
that
is
is
just
happening,
on
these
house
people still
arrest.
have mouths to talk. There is no fear. They are not even shaking. Nothing. They still have
What's
mouths
her
to
reason
talk.
for suing the BBC?
For suing the
It's a
BBC.
defamation of character.
Defamation of character. All right. No cause
It's
for
laughable.
alarm on next Olubadan. This is coming from Makinde, the governor of Oyo State. Then the last one that I'll be taking from here says Wadrum wants Nigeria over Olympic preparation. Let's see what will happen. We expect our girls to go there and come back with a trophy. We know they can do it.
Yeah.
Well,
For them.
yeah, we are at least they've made us proud before,
Yeah.
and
They can do it
They
again.
can do it again.
No, we sound like aspire to Maguire.
To perspire,
To
to
perspire,
perspire.
to aspire. All right, it's going to be the size of the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. If any of this paper interests you, you can get to the paper stand and pick the Vanguard so that you can go through it. Over to you, Mercy. For
All
the
right,
newspaper.
now for the final paper for this morning, we'll be taking the Daily Times. The Daily Times says Tinubu to Nigerians, remain patriotic, love, defend Nigeria's integrity. Well, that's a lead story for today. Says renewed hope agenda diligently implemented. Well, I think it's 12 months now, so we cannot outrightly just say let's see what happens in 1 year. A lot can happen in 1 month. That's what I'm about to say. Let me be
11
positive.
months now.
Yeah, 11 months now. A
11
lot can
months.
happen in 1 month.
We're always positive.
We're always positive. So that's on page 2 of the Daily Times newspaper. Now, Eid Fitr, SCF expresses worry over deteriorating standard of living. And then under that, we have calls for more effective policy response. Still on Daily Times, there will be no room for criminal-minded travelers. That's coming from NISCG, and that's a page 5 read on the Daily Times newspaper this morning. Now, let's take more stories. Okwama killings. That's the kicker of the story. The writer says, military board of inquiry commences sitting in Warri. Now to the next story. Kogi bandits attack. We've arrested some suspects. And something shot into my mind after reading this. Instead of saying we've arrested the suspect, why not prevent it? Why not take preventive measures instead of always? Because now, if you say the bandit attack, that means they've done something already. That means they've probably killed people. They've kidnapped, they've raided houses and all of that. Why can Nigeria start looking forward to preventing most of this insecurity or banditry we have in Nigeria instead of always coming and say we've arrested suspects or we caught 2-3 people or we're trying to curb it? Because why?
Mercy, to be
is Nigeria.
honest, our leaders need to be more proactive. They need to do better. The leaders should not just wait for problems to happen and then start looking for ways to curb it or ways to dispatch security or personnel there to calm the storm. Before, they should always be on the go. Do you understand? Ready to prevent things like this from happening. Before it even happens, you should just nip it in the
Because
bud.
medicine after death is literally
It's
like
not gonna
nothing.
work.
Yeah.
You can't keep crying over
Yeah,
spilled
people have
milk.
been
Do you know,
traumatized
someone
already.
said something yesterday about the flood. There are
Yeah.
some states in this country that is prone to flooding.
Absolutely.
And someone said something, an expert said, well, there are researches that have been done and reports submitted. What the government is supposed to do. I'm talking about geographical information
limits,
system
the
experts.
limits, yeah.
And they said, these reports have been submitted to the government long ago, but they don't seem to do anything.
Until
They don't
the place
use
is
the
Until the
flooded.
place is flooded. Then you see someone saying, well, this million has been sent to this
I was
place
about
to relieve
mentioning
malaria,
it. I was about
relieve
mentioning that
bacteria,
they would
because
rather
they are
prioritize
benefiting
sending
from this
relief
thing.
materials than curbing what ought to be curbed.
That's because some persons are benefiting from this disaster. Some persons are taking advantage of it, while other persons are suffering.
You know when they say corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of
yeah,
Nigeria,
no.
I don't think there is any fabric left.
on the fabric sitting
Okay,
on.
all right. Let's take two more stories from the Daily Times. Salah, Sultan urges Muslims to seek knowledge, pray for leaders. Kaduna huge debt. That's the next story. The writer says PDP calls for probe of ex-governor El Rufai. I think that one is long overdue. Now, let's see who's going to sue for this one. All right, now this would be the size of the Daily Times for today. After the break, we'll be analyzing the lead story on Daily Times. Stay tuned.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back to Outnumber, still reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we move to the lead story for today, and it's on Daily Times. Remain patriotic, love, defend Nigeria's integrity. Tinubu to Nigerians. Well, I don't know why I'm laughing, but then let me just laugh. Says renewed hope agenda being diligently implemented. I remember I told someone last week, and I told the person that the renewed hope felt like a renewed shaggy. And then the person said, I should be positive, I should be optimistic. I remember when the same administration came on board, they said something about it's just for the meantime. You guys should just endure.
Trust the
Trust the process. Everything, you cannot just wake up and everything will just happen. Boom. But then it looks like things are not even happening. Boom. They are dishing it out to us subsequently. So in all of our patriotism, in all of our love, what is the reward for all of this?
Well,
because I know Ramson is patriotic, and I'm sure Tonya is patriotic.
And Mercy is patriotic.
I am patriotic. But then
Nigerians,
there has to be a reward. I always say something about I think it's Newton law of motion that says for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Yes.
So in all of this, if I give you love, if I give you patriotism,
what
am I getting in return as a citizen of Nigeria?
That's a big question. Well, when I saw this, support for leaders, okay, then protect the integrity of the government. What came to my mind is
protect the integrity.
Yeah,
where is the integrity? There needs to be an integrity, so it will be protected. In the first place, where is the integrity? We need to see the integrity first before we talk about protecting it. Okay, because for me, I'm not seeing that integrity yet as a Nigerian.
And as Nigerians, sorry to barge in, as Nigerians, we're like brides, or let's say we're women. They say women multiply what you give to them.
Yeah,
so now
absolutely.
you
give us shege,
you
we
give us
shege.
If you give us shege, we give you shege.
I'm
But in
getting
this
to know
case,
this. The women
Ramsey
multiply
is
what
trying
you give
to
to
act.
them.
but in this
anything.
case here, they're not even giving us the integrity to say we want to give them the same thing back. Because talk about trust deficits right now. Nigerians are that towards the government.
The government has done so much. Would I want to use betray is a strong word to use, but yeah, it's a very strong word to use. But the government, yes, because what would you call coming out during campaigns? You read your manifesto, you promise heaven and earth, and you say roads will be good, infrastructure, good education, good healthcare system, security, clean water, and everything. And then 3 months into your administration, we're seeing it was more like empty promises. Definitely the hearts of citizens will be dashed. You feel betrayed, like, so after voting, standing on the queue, imagine people that came out during the last presidential election to vote. A lot of people got injured. Those places that talks,
some were beaten.
Some were beaten. Those places that talks stole ballot boxes and everything. How do you think a Nigerian would want? Nigerians are patriotic people. They love you. It was clearly shown in the last AFCON when we were at the semi-finals and everything. It was clearly shown getting to the finals. It was shown that Nigerians, we actually love this country. But seeing all of these leadership problems that we are having, it's making a lot of Nigerians, take everything. And on the streets of social media, you see people say, may Nigeria not happen to you. Yes. When they say may Nigeria not happen to you, it's a deep-seated pain. Do you understand? Because how would you describe something happening to you and you report to the police station? The police will tell you, we don't have fuel to come to the scene. Do you understand? You pay for fuel, and then when you report, you'll be like, anything for the boys, go sort, go wet ground. Do you understand?
Which kind
People
are not even scared of bringing cases to the police station. Right now.
They rather settle it out.
You'll pay. You're spending.
Another thing is, go to the hospital, for instance. You get to the hospital, say, you have an emergency situation, your child or maybe you are not fine, and you get to the hospital, say 6:30 a.m. before a doctor attends to you 11 a.m. So if it's the situation of life and death, that person would have died and probably faced judgment and probably been either in heaven or hell. Do you understand?
I think
It's so sad to see all of this, because when these things happen, Nigerians just lose hope and they just lose faith in the country, lose faith in every institution that is supposed to keep us
I'm sorry,
as a
I'm going
people.
I'm going to feel like I'm the devil's advocate in this.
Yeah.
Because now in President Tinubu coming out trying to tell us to be patriotic, love, defend Nigeria's integrity. I feel like we as citizens, we all always have something to contribute to Nigeria, because whether we like it or not, now that we've said, oh, dollar is about 1,200 and naira rather is 1,200 naira to the dollar, then you see people that did not even buy anything during when dollar was 1,700 naira. They did not buy pin.
Mercy, you see this table?
They did not buy pin.
But they will claim that it's
old dollar. It's the old thing.
It's the
So
old.
now that dollar has gone down, one would expect that the prices of stuff in the market too would actually. I used to say this thing. It felt like a joke that the law of gravity does not apply to anything in Nigeria. Whatever goes up
remains
I
up.
think-
it remains
I
up in
think
Nigeria. It does not come down.
You
left
guys have
to the
said it
conscience
all.
of
You
the
guys have
seller.
said, you've said it all.
Yeah.
You can't get what you don't give.
What you don't, but even we as
As
Nigerians, see,
Nigerians.
sorry, before I used to think that the government was the problem. I actually saw a country where, trust me, we are complaining about 1,200 naira. Their dollar to their currency, native currency there was about 2,500 naira. I'm just trying to use the naira as a balance for it. And then these people are actually receptive people. They do not. I was holding my bag like they were going to steal my bag at some point, and the guy was looking at me, say, "Are you from Nigeria?" I said, "Yes."
Can you imagine?
Is that our trademark?
It felt like, because me, I went to a new place, so I was holding my bag as per I did Lagos.
You understand?
But then the guy was looking at me like, "Oh, we don't steal here. If you put something there,"
You'll
to
meet
the
it
point that they don't even have police on the road.
around.
I was asking, I said, "Don't you guys have police?" And they said, "Don't worry, you see police."
That is
So-
an
but
organized
they did not-
setting.
that's
You know,
organized
In a
setting.
country like that, you don't
So,
even
in a
beg
country,
people to
you don't
protect
beg-
the
yes.
integrity
So,
of
No,
the
you
government.
don't beg them,
You
but
don't
like I
beg.
said, the government has their part to play. Citizens
Citizens have
too,
their
we have
part to
our
play.
own part. In
Yeah.
fact, we have the major part to play. It starts from person that sells gari in the market. It starts from who sells beans in the market. Because now you see someone there, someone wants to sell gari to you, and then they already busted under the
No,
this
you know,
thing.
there was one
And
I
then
saw at the
when
market
you
here,
are, they're
Mercy.
pouring gari, and then you don't know that underneath the gari is leaking.
it's
You
leaking.
think you are buying
Mercy,
a
there was
full
one I
gari.
saw at the
They pour
market.
it
You
for
know the measuring cup. You know when you put two in it, so it doesn't. The second one doesn't sit properly.
yeah.
So in your mind, you are getting a full basket
That's
of mudu or what,
But
but
then-
it's meshed together. You're getting half the
of
value of what you're
Have
paying for.
you
But
tried
as-
getting
as-
pepper
as-
from
as it
Kaduna
is,
before?
as it is,
Now,
let's-
when I
let's
go to
get
the
back
market,
to
I tell
this.
them to remove the pepper because underneath is literally empty.
Okay,
imagine.
if you look at one of the riders, today's
Yeah.
story,
Mm-hmm.
it says Buhari, Shetima, Zulum, Akpabio, Barao governors, others seek support
For
for
leaders.
leaders. So let me say this now. They are seeking support for leader. What support are they seeking now? Because everything that the citizens expect from the leader, they are not
They're
getting
not
it.
getting it.
It's more like
It's
they're
more
trying
like
to.
it's more like betrayal. You just make the people feel you are for them, and you get there and you do your own thing. Then at the end of the day, you're coming up to say, "Well, you want to be supported." What support are you
No,
talking
you're
about?
talking about-
You are on your lane. The people are on their lane. You know. Most of these things that we complain about, the people don't really feel it.
feel
The
it.
people in government don't feel it. So
I think the
sometimes
support
we're talking
they
about
mean
lights
is
now.
don't
They
complain
have
when
lights
things are not
24/7,
going your
not
way.
going
but
well.
I
then
think that's the support
we
they're trying
are
to
the
talk
ones
about.
feeling it.
Feeling
So
it.
they shouldn't be asking for support because
Okay.
the support will not be there,
Be there.
as a matter of
All
fact.
right, thank you very much, Ramsey, and thank you, Sonia, for the imperfect analysis to that. And now, as we wrap up, I'd like to say a great man that I look up to would always say something. You do not ask for respect, you command it. You do not ask for integrity, you command it. If you are a nice leader or you're a great leader, you would not have to ask Nigerians to trust you, to love you, or to be patriotic. When you give the right thing, people respond back to it. And that is where we wrap it up for today on Outnumbered. Thank you for staying tuned. I remain Mercy Babazide. See you same time, same station tomorrow.